What's your name?
David Rutherford.
Mr. Rutherford, you have been charged with driving on a revoked license. That would be a Class B misdemeanor convicted. You've also been charged with simple possession or casual exchange of marijuana. That would be a Class A misdemeanor convicted. You've been charged with drug paraphernalia. That also would be a Class A misdemeanor. You've been charged with a violation of the registration law, which would be a Class C misdemeanor convicted, and a violation of financial responsibility law. That also would be a Class C misdemeanor convicted. You understand what you're charged with?
Yes, sir.
So you are actually already released on these charges. They are not holding you in jail. What is holding you in jail is a hold for Blount County. They're going to give them an opportunity to come pick you up on that hold before they release you. If you cannot afford, well, first of all, would you like me to read the allegations?
Hold on, I can't hear you.
Would you like me to read the allegations?
What do you mean allegations?
What they're accusing you of doing?
Yeah.
It says, this incident occurred on or about Sunday, November 20th, 2022 at 8:37 p.m. at 3419 Sevier Avenue. On that date, time, and location, police received a call about a Dodge Neon that was parked and dealing drugs. Upon arrival, a golden-colored Dodge Neon bearing Tennessee registration BJY 9841, later found to be a 2000 model, was observed parked in front of the building at 3419 Sevier Avenue. The car was occupied and was running, in evidence by visible exhaust emissions. The vehicle was approached by Officer Carlos and Mays, and the defendant, David Ray Rutherford, was observed sitting in the driver's seat. There were no other occupants. Rutherford was asked to roll his window down by Carlos, and identification was requested. Officer Mays, who had approached from the passenger side, observed a glass drug pipe in plain view on the front passenger seat. The pipe contained what it was appeared to be white drug residue and was consistent with a crack cocaine pipe. Mays opened the unlocked passenger door in order to see better due to darkly tinted windows. A distinct odor of marijuana was detected to be emanating from the car as soon as the door was opened. Excuse me. Rutherford provided an ID and he was checked on records. He was asked if he lived in the apartment complex and he stated that he did not. He was asked why he was at the complex and he stated he was waiting for a friend named Cassius to return. He later clarified the friend to be Cassius Minefield. The defendant was then found to have an outstanding warrant in Blount County, Tennessee for driving on revoked and other driving offenses. His driver's license was found to still be revoked due to a DUI conviction in 2012. The registration on the car was found to be assigned to a different car, a 2008 Dodge orange in color, registered to a Jessica Solomon. The defendant stated that took off the correct tag because he thought he had warrants and he was afraid he would be caught by traffic cameras in Blount County. The defendant was also unable to provide valid proof of insurance. The defendant was arrested, searched. He was found to be in possession of a small bag of marijuana that was found by Officer Carlos in a front hooded sweatshirt pocket. The marijuana had an estimated weight of approximately 7 to 10 grams. This occurred in Knox County, Tennessee. All right, if you cannot afford an attorney, I can appoint one. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah.
Kind of ask you some questions on oath to make sure you qualify, so you raise your right hand and be sworn in. This is the uniform affidavit of indigency that you filled out of the jail. You swear or affirm that everything you filled out on this form, any testimony you give is true and accurate?
I do.
Thank you. You have a job?
I do not.
Any property, house, or car that you own?
I'm sorry?
Any property, house, or car that you own?
Well, the 2000 Dodge Neon that's now in the impound.
What do you think it's worth?
Approximately $1,500 at most.
You owe anything on it?
No, no, sir.
Any other forms of income or of assets?
I'm in the process of working on getting my disability. I have epilepsy.
Okay, I'm going to appoint the district public defender to represent you. There is a $50 fee for the appointment of counsel. That needs to be paid in the general session court clerk's office on or before December 6th. But if you are unable to pay by that time, they will add to your court costs at the conclusion of the case. They have the number of the public defender's office at the jail. Try and get a hold of them prior to your court date. And do you want me to go ahead and set this for hearing 30 days out, or do you want me to set it for status so the attorneys can talk on, it would be this coming Monday, November 28th.
I'm not. What do you mean status?
So basically, you wouldn't be able to have a hearing on Monday, but I can get you in court so the attorneys can try and resolve it without a hearing, or they can put it off or do whatever. They can discuss the case and have it proceed.
I guess, just set it for the 30 days out or whatever.
Okay.
I mean, so the only thing that's holding me is the Blount County.
Correct.
Now that I've had this arraignment, would that make it? I mean, is that going to speed them up any, or?
I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to set this in misdemeanor court on December the 16th. It's a little bit less than 30 days, but they're closing down for Christmas holidays.
Gotcha.
After that, for preliminary hearing, and that's all I have for you.
All righty.
So if you do go to Blount County, make sure you get a hold of our PD to make sure that they can reset that date so you don't get a failure to appear.
Okay.
If you're stuck in Blount County, that doesn't sound like major charges. You might be able to get out even if you go.
Well, I've got documentation. I had that COVID-19, that coronavirus during the time of me going to court up there. And I mean, so it's just a matter of me getting down there and having my wife take the documentation to them. But I mean, I've got document from a doctor saying that I had the virus, so hopefully that'll at least explain the FTA.
Well, good luck to you.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
Ready? Hey, officer, do you have this Connor person?
Yes, he's right here.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I'll be right with you. All right, what's your name?
David Connor.
Okay, Mr. Connor, you have been charged with theft of property valued over $10,000. That would be a Class C felony if convicted. You've also been charged with what's called a computer offense involving property valued over $10,000, and each of those would be a Class C felony if convicted. The computer offense is basically saying that you committed theft by accessing like a network or a pay network or whatever. So basically you scanned something is what they're accusing you of. I'm not saying you did that. I'm just saying that's generally what it is. or you, I think actually it looks like they're saying use the Zelle. Would you like me to read the allegations?
No, sir.
You understand what you're charged with?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, you have some rights I need to go over. The first is that you have the right to remain silent. No one can force you to make any statements. Any that you make voluntarily can be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, I can appoint one for you. And you have the right to a preliminary hearing, that is a probable cause hearing, where the judge will hear the evidence against you and decide whether this case is strong enough to be bound over the grand jury for further prosecution. You understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
Would you like me to appoint an attorney to represent you?
If I get out, I think I'm gonna get my own. I'm gonna try to get my own.
You're going to hire one? Okay.
I'm gonna try.
Well, I'm going to help you with that because I'm going to pre-trial you.
No, thank you so much. Now I won't lose my job.
With the condition of bond, should you post it that you not have any contact or communication with the alleged victim,
Yes, sir.
who is a Sandra K. Roberts.
Roberts. Yes, sir.
And I'm going to set this on December 16th. Actually, let me make sure the date's the same for felony court before I open my mouth. I'm going to set it for hearing. So make sure you get an attorney and you're ready to go by the 16th. Should be the
Okay.
16th. I just want to verify it. Yep, I'm going to set it for Do you mind if I set it to the 28th? I think that's technically more than 30
No.
days.
Yeah, that would be great. It'd give me a chance to get an attorney.
Okay, I'm going to set it for December 28th then.
Thank you.
I think that date is probably going to fill up with a bunch of people also, but for now it's not capped like the other ones are.
Okay.
Which technically I can override that cap because it's a jail case, but I'm releasing you, so it's not really a jail case.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm just going to set it for December 28th.
How does the pretrial work?
You'll have to call them and give them your number. I believe you're just
After I'm released?
yeah,
I'm
and
released?
so so that they can try and track you down if you miss your court date.
Okay. Will I be released today?
Yes, it should be just an hour or two.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's all I have for you.
Have a good day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
All right. So I have to swear you in again, Mr. Landis. So you raise your right hand, be sworn in. This is the uniform affidavit of indigency that you filled out of the jail. You swear or affirm that everything you filled out on this form, any testimony you give is true and accurate?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You have a job,
No, sir.
any property, a house or car that you own?
No.
Any other forms of income or of assets?
No, sir.
You live in Knoxville?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived here?
Since the end of 97.
You have family here?
Yes.
Who would that be?
My little sister.
And is there anybody that would vouch for your liability to state or vouch for your liability to show up in court?
My old lady Betty. And my sister would.
Okay, I'm gonna set the bond on the paraphernalia charge at $500 and on the trespass charge at $250 for a total of $750. With the condition of bond, should you post it, that you stay off of all Knox County Development Corporation property.
If I can't make the bond, how long will I be here?
I'm going to set this for a bond review on November 28th in misdemeanor court. So if you are unable to post this bond, the judge can consider releasing you or reconsider the bond at that time. If you do post it, they will give you a different court date to go to when you're being released. Go to that one instead. And let's see what we can do for an attorney. So it looks like you are currently represented by an attorney named David Post in another case. And I will appoint Mr. Post to represent you in this case as well. I'm going to waive the administrative fee that we normally assess for the appointment of counsel. And Mr. Post's telephone number is 584-4416. Try and get a hold of him prior to your court date, which if you don't post well, then it'll be this coming Monday in misdemeanor court. And that's all that I have for you.
All right, thank you, sir.
I'll be right with you.
Thanks, sir.
What's your name?
Davis.
What's your first name?
LePatrick.
Okay, Mr. Stevens, you've been charged with criminal impersonation. That will be a Class B misdemeanor if convicted. You've also been charged with drug paraphernalia. That'd be a Class A misdemeanor if convicted. And you've been charged with the possession, barter, or giving away of a legend drug, which would be a Class C misdemeanor if convicted. You understand what you're charged with?
Hell no.
What don't you understand?
I didn't have no drugs on me.
You're not charged with having drugs on you.
You said drug paraphernalia and what?
Possess, sell, barter, give away a legend drug. I guess technically a legend drug then, yes.
What does that mean?
It's a prescription drug that is not scheduled. Sometimes that's, for instance, my mind's drawing a blank. What is penicillin? Like penicillin. Like, don't tell me what you had. I'm just telling you what an example of what it might be. Would you like me to read the allegations?
Yeah.
Says, this incident occurred on or about Monday, November 21st, 2022 at 10:38 a.m. at 226 South Hall of Fame Drive. Affiant, being the officer who swore out the warrant, and witness, police officer Curran, responded to 226 South Hall of Fame Drive, KCDC property, in an attempt to retrieve some property for a female we had just encountered and misdemeanor cited at the vacant apartment at 110 South Hall of Fame Drive. Once arriving at 226 South Hall of Fame Drive, Affiant knocked on the door to apartment 226. The listed female, C.G. Carmichael, opened the door, giving Affiant the ability to speak with the bedridden resident and witness, Betty Lee, whom was lying within eyesight of Affiant in a bed in the living room. Lee gave Affiant her permission and consent to enter her residence. Once inside of the residence, Lee gave Affiant her permission to look through the apartment for other potential occupants. Affiant located the defendant in a rear bedroom. Witness, police officer Curran, located a brown marijuana grinder, a black colored sunglass case containing 8 each syringes. It says AEA. I think that's supposed to say 8 each syringes, as well as a blue and green rubberized crack pipe in plain view in the bedroom. Stevens was the sole occupant of the bedroom upon Affiant locating him underneath a blanket in the bed. Stevens initially gave Affiant his information as Stephen Darnell Reynolds, with 2 separate dates of birth, being September 9th, 1990, then September 11th, 1990. Affiant pulled up the NCIC picture belonging to that individual and then confronting Stevens about lying to Affiant concerning his identity. The defendant then reluctantly gave Affiant his true identity. KCSD leads then confirmed that the defendant had an outstanding violation of probation for possession with intent to sell cocaine, docket number 108393, 0 bond. Search incident to arrest of the defendant revealed him to possess 5 EA whole and 8 EA halves of white oblong pills, imprinted or partially imprinted R180, identified as 4 milligram tizanidine hydrochloride. Those pills were initially inside of a small black business card case inside the defendant's pocket. These are prescription-only Legend drug pills that the defendant did not have a prescription to possess. This occurred in Knox County, Tennessee.
Lying ass motherfuckers, bro. Yeah, I'm fucked up.
Okay, if you cannot afford an attorney, I can appoint one. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah, David Potts is my attorney. I'm original attorney.
Yeah, I can ask you some questions on oath. Make sure you qualify, so you raise your right hand and be sworn in. This is the uniform affidavit of indigency that you filled out at the jail. You swear or affirm that everything you filled out on this form, any testimony you give is true and accurate?
Yeah.
Thank you. You have a job? You can put your hand down. You have a job?
I'm working on a job. No,
What do you mean you were working on one?
I was already hired to work a job.
Where at?
What's that shit called? Trade code construction.
How much were you going to be making there?
$20 an hour.
Any property, a house or car that you own?
Nope.
Any other forms of income or of assets?
Nope.
You live in Knoxville?
Yep.
How long you lived here?
I'm like,
You got family here?
yep.
Who would that be?
My mother, sister, brother, auntie, cousin. We should have a lot of family.
And is there anybody that would vouch for liability to show up in court?
My mother.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the bond on the criminal impersonation at $500 and on the drug paraphernalia at $500, and then I'm going to ROR the Legend drug charge. So it's $1,000 total. I'm going to set this in misdemeanor court on November 28th. That is this coming Monday. So that if you are unable to post this bond, the judge can reconsider the bond or release you at that time.
I'm gonna find out with POP.
You say you won't be able to?
I mean, I can, but I have a VOP.
Yeah, it might be denied on that. It said zero bond in that narrative. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Probably it is denied. But I don't know that with the information I have in front of me. But if you don't bond out, that's when it'll be. And I'm going to set these, well, I set on November 28th. And it does look like you are represented by David Poss. Let me make sure I can put him on both of these. Excuse me.
That's real. Okay, muscle that's not taking sickle cell. That's not something crazy. I put it in my pocket myself and gave to him myself. He didn't take shit on no black bag. No black.
Hey, I'll appoint David Poss to represent you on these. It looks like he's already appointed to represent you in some other cases.
Yeah.
So I will waive the administrative fee that we normally assess for the appointment of counsel. Mr. Poss's telephone number is 584-4416. Try and get a hold of him prior to your court date, which is going to be on this coming Monday in misdemeanor court, November 28th. And that's all I have for you. What's your name? What'd you say? Okay, Mr. Burks, you've been charged with disorderly conduct. That would be a Class C misdemeanor if convicted. You've been charged with retaliation for past action. That would be a Class E felony if convicted. And you've been charged with 2 counts of assault on a first responder. Each of those would be a Class A misdemeanor if convicted. You understand what you're charged with?
Yes, sir.
Would you like me to read the allegations?
Nah.
Okay, you have some rights I need to go over. The first is that you have the right to remain silent. No one can force you to make any statements. Any that you make voluntarily can be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, I can appoint one for you. And you have the right to a preliminary hearing, that is a probable cause hearing where the judge will hear the evidence against you and decide whether this case is strong enough to be bound over the grand jury for further prosecution. You understand those rights? Would you like me to appoint an attorney to represent you?
Yeah, I got a conflict of interest with the public defender's office, so I got a going on.
Okay, I'll look at it.
All right, Henry Bailey.
Can I ask you some questions on oath? Make sure you qualify and set your bonds. You raise your right hand and be sworn in. This is the uniform affidavit of indigency that you filled out of jail. You swear or affirm that everything you filled out on this form, any testimony you give is true and accurate?
Yes.
Thank you. You have a job?
Yeah, but I probably lost it now.
Where at?
Eagle being manufactured.
How much are you making there?
Like 17.75.
An hour?
Yeah,
How long have you been working there?
I literally just started.
Property, house, or car that you own?
Uh-uh.
The other forms of income or assets?
No.
You live in Knoxville?
Technically, I live in Newport News, Virginia, but I've been down here dealing with what I've been dealing with.
How long you been here?
I've been on about last year and a half.
You have family here?
Kind of.
What's kind of?
Family down here. I don't see them every day. I don't talk to them every day, but it's family here.
Is there anybody that got your liability to show up in court?
Yes.
Who would that be?
Bailey Hornet. Bailey Hornet. Hell, the DA. You know, I'm always showing up to court. I'm not a flight risk by any means. And my mom moved here too. She moved out there from San Diego. So.
Okay, I'm going to set the bond in the retaliation case at 1,000, and on each of the assault cases at 500, and then I'm going to ROR the disorderly, and I'm going to set these in felony court on November 28th. That's this coming Monday. So if you're unable to make these bonds, the judge can consider reducing them or releasing you at that time. They can reconsider the bonds. If you do post them, they'll give you a different court date to go to when you're being released. Go to that one instead. As soon as that's done printing out, I'll get you an attorney.
So about $300 to get me out.
I can't hear you over the printer right now.
Never mind.
What was it now?
Nothing.
All right, so it looks like you are represented by Bailey Harned in another case. And I will appoint Ms. Harned to represent you in this one as well. I'm going to waive the administrative fee that we normally assess for the appointment of counsel because it's already been assessed in a pending case. Ms. Harned's telephone number is 317-4529. Try and get a hold of her prior to your court date, which again will be on November 28th. You still there?
317-5429.
No, 4529.
4529.
That's all I have for you.
All right. That's all we got, sir.
All righty.